because it's a web page, there's a lot you can do. In this demo, I'm going to show you how to use OBS Studio to really supercharge your virtual presentations, your webinars that you hold, the things that you might do with clients or with students or whatever you normally present to combine your webcam with your slides. I'm going to do it with OBS Studio. Here we have the basic OBS Studio scene collection. When you first open it up, it's blank like this. And you have the different scenes, which are how you set up all your different elements in pre-configured ways. And then within each scene, you have all your elements. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start bringing in things like the camera. We're going to select a new webcam source. I'm going to call it webcam, helpfully. And it is going to look for the camera that I've set up previously. And this is my webcam, and you can see me with my Princess Leia headphones and my messy background. I'll talk about the background and what to do about that at the end of the video. We're going to talk about some green screen stuff. So we're going to hit OK. We're just going to accept all the defaults. Lots of things to tweak in here. We're not going to. We're just going to hit OK. And here I am on the screen. Hello. And we are going to expand this out. We're going to move it around with the mouse. And what I like to do, because my webcam isn't full HD, right? It doesn't have the full widescreen effect. And I'm doing this because you probably don't. I've got other cameras that do, but I want to do this with what was probably the sort of the worst case scenario where you don't have it. I can hit the Alt key and start bringing in how all these elements start looking. And I can zoom in and get a good look the way and move things the way I like it. All right, so we got a little bit of a border here, but we're going to be okay with this. We're going to choose to be okay with this. Now, if I'm presenting and I just want to focus on me, then this is a good scene that does exactly that. And we're going to leave this as it is. Now, I want a scene where we have slides and me on the same screen showing both. I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to create a new scene. Let's just call it scene 2. We're going to add a window capture device, but if we see here, we see that what we configured before is already available. So we're going to bring this up, and here I am back again. And this time I'm going to bring me down here. I'm going to tighten things up a little bit. Maybe make myself a little bit bigger. I'm going to stick myself down here in the corner. I feel so small. And now what we want to do is want to fill the rest of the space with a slide deck. There are a few ways you could do this. You could open up a PowerPoint presentation and have OBS grab that and display it in the space. But I like to do something different. I like to use a built-in function that allows you to capture a web page. And what I do is it creates slide decks and I put them up on a browser. And I'll show you why. It's actually make things a lot easier. And for this demo, I'm going to use Canva. They have the ability to do slide decks, but any Office 365 function where you can display a slide deck presentation or Google Slides on a browser, that will work just as well. But I'm going to show you a demo using Canva. So in this scene, we're going to add a source and we're going to add a browser. Now this is OBS's built-in browser. This isn't Chrome or Firefox or Edge or something. This is their own internal browser, and it doesn't have any features or whistles or bells. It just connects to a website. We're going to call this, and we're going to call this Canva demo just so we can keep track of things. All right, and on this screen, we now want to pop in the URL of the presentation that's online. There's lots of other things we can tweak in here. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to pop this in, and so let me do that now. All right, and we have the Canva, you see the Canva logo down here. We've got the Canva slides here, and we're going to resize. Okay, but whoops, where's me? Well, remember I said we could layer the things in the scene? Well, we can change the layers in the scene as well. So I'm going to click and drag the Canva demo under the webcam, and now I'm layered on top of the presentation. So this is great. But as you can see, there's nothing for me to interact with here. I can't advance the slides. Well, OBS Studio has something here which makes this easy. If we click the interact, this is really poorly named and you're going to overlook it. You've never thought of it before, but we're going to choose interact, and that brings up a little browser window. And there's nothing you can do here except to interact with the browser. There's no extensions. There's nothing fancy here. It is the barest minimum browser you can think of. And we can advance the slides. Now, this is just a separate window. And if I move it over here to my other screen, you can't see it right now, and I can advance the slides. Now, what happens is you get these little silly little arrows that pop up, and you don't necessarily want that. But what I do is use the keyboard and I use the arrow keys, and I can go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. This is a presentation I did today, actually, at the time of this recording. And so I wanted to show you how this worked. Okay, so now we have a scene where we have myself and the screen, the slide deck. The slide deck, I've got the controls that are here beside, and I can move back and forth. If I'm presenting and I want to come back to just me, I then change the scene, and I can click on here, or there are tools that you can use to automatically change how the scenes change. But that's another demo. And so while I'm presenting, I can then easily swap between these two and present as I want. Now, one of the things you'll probably see here is that I've got, my office here, and it's all messy. You can see the door. It's not great. So one of the things you can do, and I have the ability to do this, is use a green screen. And OBS makes this easy for you too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to set up my green screens. I'm going to show you how this works in OBS and how it can really make things pop. So just hold on a second. I'll be right back. And ta-da! Here I am with the green screens that are set up behind me. Now, green screens can be a rabbit hole to fall into. Learning how to do green screens well is a bit of a skill, and you will spend forever tweaking and testing things. Actually, I have two screens and they're layered on top of each other, and purists are going to look at that shadow and say, oh, that's going to be wrong. Yeah, well, I'm living with it. So in order to make this work really, really well, what we can do is turn on a green screen effect in OBS Studio and remove all of my background. It's really, really easy. So we're going to click on the webcam, and I'm going to right click and choose filters. It's also filters over here on the side once you've clicked on it. And here we can add effect filters. We're going to add an effect filter, and we're choosing chroma key. Name it whatever you want, don't care. And ooh, automatically just popping that up, the green turns to gray. And we can tweak this. And trust me, you will spend forever tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So but let's be happy here. So now our green screen's gone. Now what OBS will do with this is make my background disappear. And yeah, normally I spend a lot of time tweaking this, but once you get the settings right, it works great, so you don't have to deal with it. One of the things we can do here, now that we've cut out my background, is I can now replace my background with something else, just like we normally see with Teams or with Zoom. We can add a virtual background, but we can use any image we want. So we're going to click a new source. We're going to click on image. We're just going to accept the defaults, whatever. And you've probably seen this in my videos, and this is what I've got. And it's layered over top. That's easily solved by changing the layer order. And there I am again. And we're going to expand that out. And this, except for the green screen settings I need to tweak, this is what you've seen in some of my videos if you watch any of my other videos. And that's how this works. It works really, really simply. And I can add multiple different images in the background. So let's come back here and use the one I use for Dungeons and Dragons when I am doing that. And I change the order here again. And now you have these little eyeball icons here. We can change what is seen and what is viewed. So instead of changing the scene, I can now manipulate and change dynamically in a presentation. I can change what the background looks like or different elements on the screen. So that's one way you can do this. Let your imagination go wild with that one. Now, let's come back over here to scene 2, where we've got this. So now, instead of seeing the box with my background and the door and the papers, the paper pile in the corner, now it's just me. And I can go through my presentation like this, right? And it works really, really, really well. If you don't like your position on the screen or the size, you can, excuse me, man. I can change how big you are or your position on the screen. If you prefer to be on the other side, you can do that. It's just click and drag and do whatever you want. Now, one of the interesting things here because it's a web page, there's a lot you can do. And for the technical people, web developers, people who do web programming, your imagination's going to go absolutely bonkers at this point because there's a lot you could do. But for most of us who just want to do presentations, this is a really simple and easy way to do it. It is a lot easier with a green screen. It looks a lot better with a green screen, and it does require a little bit of investment, at least a green sheet you need to put up. But as long as you've got OBS Studio and a minute to play with the settings, I didn't choose to do that for the demo, you can really supercharge your presentations and get something a lot more different, a lot more professional, and a lot more dynamic than what anyone else is presenting out there right now, because no one else is doing this. I have yet to see anyone putting this kind of effort in. So what I'd love for you to do is in the comments below, tell me what type of background you would use and how you might use that browser as a background or a browser as part of your presentation and what your imagination might do with that. Imagine the browser having green elements and you can filter out the green. Let your imagination go wild. If you've got wild ideas, I want to hear every single one of them. Put them down in the comments. I'd love to see it. All right. Thanks very much. Bye.